Some of you are still stuck, not because you lack talent, not because you lack intelligence, but because you're waiting.
Waiting on a phone call. Waiting on permission.
Waiting for someone else to notice you, choose you, save you. And while you wait, life keeps moving. Opportunities don't knock twice, and they definitely don't wait for you to feel ready. Listen carefully. That moment you're hoping for, the one that changes everything, might come sooner than you think.
Or later.
Or never at all. The real question isn't when the opportunity shows up. The real question is this: will you be ready when it does?
Most people aren't.
They say, I just started this job, I've got time.
Years pass. A decade passes. Someone quits.
Someone gets promoted. Someone leaves the room, and suddenly a door opens.
But you weren't prepared.
You weren't built for that moment. And that door closes just as fast as it opened. Success doesn't reward potential.
It rewards preparation.
There's a level of toughness required to rise. A resilience that refuses to stay down. A mindset that says, I will get back up, every single time.
You don't train when the spotlight hits. You train in the dark.
You prepare before the moment arrives, not after. Too many people treat life like a game, killing time, chasing distractions, waiting to be called. But greatness doesn't come from waiting. It comes from working, especially when nobody's watching. I once heard about a man who woke up at 4:30 every morning, running in silence while the city slept, for a team that didn't even know his name. No guarantee.
No applause. No promise. Just discipline.
That's the difference. Some people only show up when there's an event. Others show up because it's who they are. You are who you practice being. And when the real moment shows up, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your preparation. If all you've done is coast, then when it's time to perform, your performance will look like practice. Champions don't wait for the season to start. They train in the off-season. They work when it's uncomfortable. They move when there's no guarantee.
Professionals don't wait for motivation.
They move because movement is part of their identity. So ask yourself, are you preparing for a moment, or are you becoming the person who's ready no matter when the moment arrives? And here's the uncomfortable truth: while you're waiting, someone else is becoming. What if luck isn't real, and you've been giving away your power this whole time? Most people think success is about timing. Being at the right place at the right moment.
Knowing the right people. Getting lucky.
But timing without preparation is useless.
Luck without readiness is wasted.
The truth is, opportunity only looks like luck from the outside. From the inside, it's preparation meeting pressure. Here's what nobody tells you: opportunities don't announce themselves. They don't send calendar invites. They don't warn you ahead of time. They show up suddenly, often disguised as inconvenience, responsibility, or risk. And when they do, they expose you. They reveal who's been working, and who's been waiting. That's why so many people miss their moment. Not because the moment didn't come, but because they weren't built for it. Preparation isn't glamorous. Nobody claps when you're studying alone. Nobody sees the hours you spend sharpening your skill when there's no immediate reward.
Nobody celebrates discipline in silence.
But that quiet work is what separates those who rise from those who remain stuck.
You don't practice on the opportunity.
You practice before it ever shows up.
Think about it.
If you only prepare when the door opens, you're already too late.
The moment requires execution, not experimentation. Performance, not practice.
When pressure hits, you won't suddenly become disciplined, you'll default to your habits. That's why off-season work matters. That's why unseen effort matters. That's why consistency beats intensity every time. There are people who only show up when something is happening. When there's an event. When there's attention. When there's a payoff. And when none of that exists, they disappear.
Then there is another group, quiet, hungry, relentless.
Whether anyone's watching or not, they wake up. They get dressed. They do the work. Opportunity or not. That group doesn't rely on motivation. They rely on identity. They don't say, I'll work when I get the chance. They say, I work because this is who I am. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They create momentum in imperfect ones. They don't ask permission to prepare. And here's the shift that changes everything. When you prepare daily, you stop chasing opportunities. Opportunities start finding you. People notice consistency. Doors open for those who are already moving. Momentum attracts momentum.
Waiting keeps you average. Preparation separates you. So stop asking, when will my moment come?
Start asking, Who am I becoming before it arrives? Because readiness isn't built in emergencies.
It's built in routine.
It's built in repetition. It's built when quitting would be easier, but you keep going anyway.
And make no mistake, your moment will come.
The only question is whether you'll recognize it, or regret not being ready. If preparation is the real advantage, then what's secretly holding you back from doing the work, every single day? For a long time, most people believe their life is the result of other people's decisions. The family they were born into, the environment they grew up in, the opportunities they didn't get, the doors that stayed closed. And at first, that story feels comforting, because it removes responsibility. If someone else caused it, then someone else has to fix it. But here's the truth most people avoid: you are the common denominator in your life. That not your parents,
Not your past.
not your circumstances. You. Realization is uncomfortable. It challenges the victim mindset. It forces you to confront the fact that where you are right now is connected, directly or indirectly, to the choices you've made, the habits you've tolerated, and the standards you've accepted. That doesn't mean your pain wasn't real. It doesn't mean you weren't hurt, betrayed, overlooked, or disadvantaged. It means that staying stuck in blame keeps you powerless. And power is the only thing that changes outcomes. Many people never move forward because blaming others feels easier than doing the work. When you say someone else is responsible for your life, you hand them the keys. You give them control over your future without realizing it. And as long as they own your story, you can't rewrite it. The hardest moment in growth is the moment you stop pointing outward and start looking inward. When you finally stand in front of the mirror and admit, "I have some correcting to do." That moment is painful, but it's also freeing. Because the same person who created the problem has the power to change it. Most people don't realize they've been building their own reality through their thoughts, emotions, and reactions. What you consistently think, you eventually live. What you repeatedly tell yourself becomes your identity. And without awareness, you keep recreating the same results, then wondering why nothing changes. Growth begins when accountability replaces excuses.
Not self-hate. Not shame.
Responsibility. Responsibility says, "This is my life. And if it's going to change, I'm the one who has to change first." That mindset doesn't weaken you, it strengthens you. It shifts you from victim to architect. You stop waiting for people to apologize. You stop waiting for conditions to improve.
You stop waiting for permission to evolve.
And once you accept that you are the common denominator, something powerful happens. You regain control. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. You stop repeating the past and start designing the future. That's when momentum begins.
But this shift comes at a cost.
You can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. You can't heal while clinging to blame. And you can't rise while refusing to take ownership. So the real question becomes, are you brave enough to accept responsibility for the life you want?
Because the moment you do, everything changes.
If you are the common denominator, then what's the one truth about yourself you've been avoiding? And how long can you afford to keep avoiding it? Most people get stuck because they focus too much on the cost and not enough on the vision. They look at what it will take, how hard it will be, what they'll have to give up, and they quit mentally before they ever begin. They ask, how long will this take?
How much will this hurt?
What if it doesn't work? But vision doesn't start with counting the cost. Vision starts with seeing the end before you start walking. Vision is the ability to see yourself somewhere you've never been, and still move with confidence. It's holding a picture in your mind before there's any evidence in your hands.
And without vision, discipline feels pointless. Sacrifice feels unfair. Pain feels permanent.
That's why so many people stop early. They're working without a picture.
Grinding without direction. Moving without meaning.
Nothing meaningful in life happens by accident. Before anything becomes real, it must first be imagined. Every achievement, every breakthrough, every transformation begins as a vision, quiet, unseen, doubted by others. You don't wake up successful one day.
You see it first.
Then you build toward it. The mistake most people make is waiting to see progress before they believe.
But belief comes first. Vision comes first. Action follows.
You don't need to see the entire path, just the destination. Once the destination is clear, the steps will reveal themselves. But if you never define where you're going, every obstacle will feel like a reason to stop. Vision keeps you moving when results are slow.
Vision anchors you when emotions fluctuate.
Vision reminds you why quitting is not an option. And here's the truth, your background does not disqualify you from vision. Where you came from doesn't determine where you're going. People from privilege fail every day. People from struggle rise every day. The difference is not resources, it's clarity. When you know where you're headed, excuses lose their power.
Vision forces alignment. Your habits change. Your conversations change. Your standards change.
You stop wasting energy on distractions because they no longer match the future you see. But vision demands discipline of the mind. You can't entertain doubt all day and expect confidence at night. You can't replay past failures and expect future success.
Your inner dialogue must match your destination.
You're already in pain. Life already demands effort. The question is, will you let that pain be meaningless, or will you attach it to a purpose? Because pain without vision breaks people. Pain with vision builds them.
So don't just work harder. See clearer. Decide what kind of life you're rebuilding.
Decide who you're becoming. Decide what future version of you deserves today's discipline. Because once the vision is locked in, quitting is no longer an option. If vision is the fuel, then what happens when unresolved pain starts clouding what you're trying to see?
Pain is unavoidable.
Every person experiences it: rejection, loss, disappointment, betrayal, failure. The difference isn't who feels pain. The difference is what they do with it. Some people let pain define them. They build their identity around it.
They replay it, relive it,
carry it into every new season. Over time,
pain becomes a prison. A reason not to trust. A reason not to try. A reason not to hope.
Others choose a different path. They don't deny the pain, but they refuse to live inside it.
They turn it into fuel.
They allow it to sharpen them instead of softening them. The same pain that buries one person becomes the foundation for another. Pain is either a tombstone or a scar.
A tombstone marks where growth ended. A scar tells a story of survival.
Both come from wounds, but only one leads forward. What holds most people back isn't what happened to them. It's the decision to let what happened define the rest of their life. They say, I was hurt, so I'll never open up again. I failed, so I'll never risk again. I was overlooked, so I'll stay small. But ask yourself, why should something from the past get to control decades of your future? The truth is, holding on to pain doesn't protect you.
It only prolongs the damage.
And every day you refuse to address it, you give it more power than it deserves. Healing doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. Healing means refusing to let it own you. At some point, you have to make a decision. I will not let this break me. Not because it wasn't real, but because your life is bigger than that moment. There comes a season where you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That shift changes everything. It turns pain into wisdom, experience into strength, trauma into testimony. And here's something most people don't realize: you're not late. You're early. The fact that you're still preparing means you're still protected. Had you reached certain levels too soon, you might have lost everything. There are heights that require maturity, discipline, and healing before you can sustain them. Pain is often preparation in disguise. So don't rush the process. Don't despise the season you're in. Use it. Learn from it. Grow through it. Because when the moment comes, and it will, you won't be practicing anymore. You'll either be ready or you won't. And readiness isn't built in comfort. It's built in pain handled correctly. If pain can prepare you, then what happens when time itself starts running out? One of the most dangerous lies people believe is that they have time. Time to figure it out.
Time to heal later. Time to change tomorrow.
Time to get serious one day. And that lie keeps people trapped longer than failure ever could.
Time is the only resource you never get back.
You can lose money and earn it again. You can lose opportunities and sometimes create new ones. But every day that passes is gone forever. And the problem isn't that people don't know this. The problem is they live as if it isn't true. You tell yourself, I'll start next month. I'll commit next year. I'll fix this when things calm down. But things don't calm down.
Life doesn't slow down.
And tomorrow is never guaranteed.
There will come a moment, quiet, unexpected, when you ask yourself a painful question. Haven, I lived like this long enough? Long enough in fear. Long enough in doubt.
Long enough feeling broke, stuck, frustrated, unfulfilled. Long enough waiting for something to change instead of becoming the change. That question doesn't come to scare you. It comes to wake you up. Because staying where you are is also a decision. And it's one with consequences. Every year you delay discipline, you strengthen regret. Every season you postpone growth, you make the climb steeper. And every time you ignore the inner voice telling you it's time, you train yourself not to listen. Urgency isn't panic. Urgency is clarity. It's realizing that this moment matters.
That today counts.
That what you do now is shaping who you'll be allowed to become later. This isn't about rushing blindly. It's about moving intentionally. Choosing progress over comfort.
Action over excuses. Direction over drift. Some people hear the alarm and roll over.
Others get up and change their life. The difference isn't talent.
It's response. You don't need more time.
You need more honesty with yourself. Honesty about what you've been avoiding. About what you've been tolerating. About what you know you should have changed already. And here's the truth that hits hardest. Someone else with less ability than you is moving faster simply because they decided not to wait anymore.
They're not smarter.
They're not luckier. They're just done delaying. This moment is not random. You didn't make it this far by accident. Something in you knows it's time to separate from average, to stop surviving and start building. So stop bargaining with the future. Stop assuming there's always later.
Stop wasting the one resource you can replenish. Because one day, someday becomes too late.
If time is the real enemy, then what separates those who rise into the 1% from those who stay stuck forever? At some point, you have to make a decision that most people never make, the decision to separate from the average. Not because you think you're better than anyone else, but because you refuse to stay where you are. Average is comfortable. It doesn't demand much. It doesn't challenge your habits or question your excuses. Average lets you blend in, stay unnoticed, and avoid risk. And that's exactly why it keeps so many people trapped. Separating from the average isn't about money, status, or background. It's about standards. It's about choosing to live with intention in a world that rewards distraction. It's about becoming disciplined in a culture that celebrates comfort. The truth is, most people know what they need to do, they just don't do it. Not because they can't, but because it's uncomfortable. Growth requires friction. It requires saying no to things that feel good now for something that will feel better later. And that's where the separation begins. The moment you stop doing what everyone else is doing just to fit in. The moment you stop explaining your discipline to people who don't share your vision.
The moment you stop lowering your standards to match your environment.
Here's what separates the 1%. They don't wait to feel like it. They move on principle, not emotion. They understand that motivation fades, but systems sustain. That's why they build routines. That's why they protect their time. That's why wasted hours feel painful to them. Time is not something they spend, it's something they invest. They don't drift through days hoping something changes. They decide who they're becoming and align their daily actions with that identity. And when life gets hard, as it always does, they don't quit. They adjust and continue. Separating from average also means being willing to be misunderstood. People will question you. They'll say you're doing too much. That you've changed. That you think you're better than them. You have to be strong enough to let them talk. Because the same people who doubt your discipline will one day admire your results. And some will resent them. Either way, you can't live for approval if you want elevation. You weren't created to blend in. You were created to build something meaningful, to leave a mark, not just pass time. And that requires a different level of commitment. The 1% understand this. The real reward isn't the outcome. It's the person you become in the process. Stronger,
Sharper, more focused, more self-aware.
So ask yourself, what habits are keeping you average?
What standards have you compromised?
And what would your life look like if you finally raised them? Because separation starts with a choice. And that choice must be made daily. If separating from average requires discipline, then what invisible habits are quietly sabotaging your progress right now? Every generation reaches a moment where someone has to decide, this ends with me. The cycles.
The limitations.
The excuses passed down like inheritance. For decades, sometimes centuries, families repeat the same patterns. Same fears. Same struggles.
Same ceilings.
Until one person presses reset. That person doesn't arrive by accident. That person decides. And the question has been following you this entire time. Why not you? Why can't you be the one who breaks the cycle? Why can't you be the one who thinks differently, moves differently, lives differently? Why can't you be the one who refuses to stay small when something greater is calling? Most people wait for permission to change their life. They wait for approval, validation, agreement. But history is never changed by people who waited to be understood. It's changed by people who moved first and explained later. You already have what it takes. You wouldn't have made it this far if you didn't.
The hunger you feel isn't random.
The discomfort isn't accidental. The dissatisfaction with normal is a signal. Something in you knows there's more.
But more doesn't come without a cost. It will cost you comfort.
It will cost you old habits. It may cost you relationships that only knew the old version of you. The new life you want requires the death of the old one.
That's not easy. It's lonely at first. It's uncomfortable. It's unfamiliar.
But on the other side of that discomfort is clarity.
Confidence. Direction. Purpose.
You don't need a plan B.
You need commitment.
You don't need to see the entire staircase. Just take the next step with conviction. Momentum is built by movement, not overthinking. And understand this clearly, the world doesn't reward intention.
It rewards execution. Dreams respected only in your mind will stay there forever.
Dreams acted upon become legacy. At some point, you have to stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I don't try? Because one day you'll look back on this version of yourself, the one standing at the edge of change. And you'll either be grateful you moved, or regret that you stayed. So make the decision now.
Not tomorrow. Not next month. Now. Refuse to be average. Refuse to live on repeat. Refuse to let fear write your future.
Look in the mirror and say it, out loud if you have to. Why not me? Because it has always been you. And it's time you started living like it.